Hello, ladies of Archetype. Welcome, welcome. Renee Massey here, greeting you on this really amazing Thursday. A little earlier today than we have been the past couple of days. I believe tomorrow is an earlier training as well. So let me know if you are here on the replay. This workshop, or masterclass, I should say, who cares really, right? I don't really care what it's called. It's really just about like getting the information out there and doing the training that helps you recognize the source of iconic power that you hold within yourself. This is an extraordinary journey to be on, and it is absolutely a choice. Nobody is forcing you to be here. Nobody is forcing you to participate. Nobody is forcing the homework. Nobody is forcing anything. Hello, Miss Patricia. Welcome. So happy to see you here with me today. Nobody is forcing you to do anything. And the stuff that's like, I am going to be launching something so huge that I've never launched before, that I've never done. And I'm really, like, I have big news coming. I have big stuff coming. I have such huge stuff coming. It's going to be the most epic year, I believe, for Valkyrie Mystic and the women of Valkyrie Mystic. That's really what it's about. It's not about my business. It's about the women that my brand and my business serve. This is about service, always. It's about service to self, service to others. We cannot serve others if we are not properly serving ourselves. Okay? I want to make that extraordinarily clear. And we're gonna go a little deeper today. We're gonna dive into some different concepts. And honestly, like back to what I was saying, it's like nobody is forcing you to do anything. This is a free masterclass for you. You can take this as deeply as you choose to. You can take it wherever you want. You can actually sit and yes, I just saw it, Patricia. I will definitely be in touch with you very soon. My little one is on a nebulizer today. So as I mentioned yesterday, she was having she's got this really deep bronchial thing going on. So she started the nebulizer this morning, and that's why I'm not at the shop right now. And so my husband and I are trying to finagle something so that way I can at least be there for the second half of the day. He'll get his job done this morning, and then he'll come and take over for me. So this is what we do for, our children and our loved ones. Is we have to be flexible. We have to be malleable. And when we're not, it really is just a reflection of our own inner thoughts and our own inner resistance. And I want to go into that a little deeper today, because I've really been feeling so many different things coming up through this masterclass. I've really spent time sitting in the energies, sitting in the different archetypes of feminine power. And it's been extraordinary because, as I've said in the past two trainings, I also had felt very much that my princess was deactivated. And so the transmission that I offered was really to help reactivate and reconnect with that princess energy. And I have embraced her, and I feel her, and I play with her, and I allow her to step forward and communicate her wants and her needs. And I give her that platform now. And she comes out and she's very playful with my girls. As I said yesterday, it was like I went through this really hard time where there was such a block within me that it made it very difficult for me to access her energy. Like the princess energy was completely voided from myself. Like I shoved her down somewhere and I kept her locked up for a long time. And then when other things were happening in my life that I really could have used that archetype to step forward, I couldn't access her. Okay? I couldn't access her. And it's okay for us to be vulnerable here. It's okay for us to be completely transparent here, because this is a safe space for that. I am like a very transparent person. I'm not here to try to tell you that everything is sunshine and rainbows, and if you just do these couple of things, everything's going to constantly be in your favor. I can't say those kinds of things because they're not true. All I can do is help you see where there are blocks, resistance, what is holding you back, what it's keeping you from, what the fear and the story that is attached to the fear is really telling you and what it's teaching you. You are not leading with your soul, okay? You are not leading with the most powerful parts of who you are. And what I recognized for myself, and I'm guessing this is probably true for most women, is that I became a version of myself based on what other people expected and how other people treated me and how I was pulled on. And that just, if you bring home a plant, this is a good analogy because this actually came up with a client the other day. If you bring home a plant and the plant struggles, right? And this has happened to me too. Like, this has absolutely happened to me where I bought a plant and I brought it home and it freaking did not do well, And like, I'm reading the tag. I'm like, oh, Mercury retrograde is starting early. My thing just keeps going, buffering. So we're just going to keep going. But I read the tag, and the tag was like medium light or indirect light or full sun. And I do that. And I read the thing about hydration, water when dry, keep the soil moist. Make sure that it is in drainable soil. Like, I follow all the freaking directions. I even have an app on my phone to like help me identify certain plants, diagnose them if they're not doing well. Anyway, there have been plants that I've gotten that have not done very well. But I didn't stop buying plants because of that. Okay? Some people, and I've heard people say this before, oh, I kill everything that I bring into my house. Let's not say that anymore. Let's not do that. So it was somebody who had said like, oh yeah, I can't have plants, I kill them. No, you just haven't figured out how to connect with them. Don't we realize at this point that all of these things about what we think of ourselves are just thoughts? They're not actually true. Like, what does it mean? I want to go into this. I really want to go into this because I see where the gaps are. Like, I see them so extraordinarily. I see them like freaking Swiss cheese. It's amazing. Like, the way that I can see stuff in a person, the way that I can see the flow of energy, the way that I can tell where it's not moving correctly, where it's moving maybe too much, where it's moving really nicely, where the blocks are in the heart, where the blocks are in the mind, where the blocks are in the body, where the blocks are in the soul, the fragmentation, like it's incredible how much we are impacted just being on this planet. And we have opportunity to shift that. I'm telling you this because it's true. I'm telling you this because I've done it. I'm telling you this because I'm continuing to do it. And I'm doing this because I know other people who are doing it really well as well. Okay? And you might have a dialogue in your mind that says that, you're not worthy, because if what you wanted, if you were worthy enough to achieve it or receive it, like, it would have already happened by now. And maybe that's true. Maybe it would have already happened by now, but maybe it wouldn't. You don't know that. So you can assign it whatever meaning you want. But whatever meaning you assign, it doesn't make it fact. It doesn't make it absolute truth. It might be your version of the truth based on what you have experienced and what you observe. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with you about experiences and observations and how you've examined things, but I will absolutely throw down with anybody that doesn't think that their thoughts are just thoughts and that you have become your thoughts. That's probably very true. That would be a totally different statement, though. I understand that I am not my thoughts, but I recognize how I have become my thoughts. That's a very different thing. And that's a very mature thing to say. When we are constantly darting from one thing to the next in Queen Bee, we miss a lot of stuff. We miss so much. And it's because of the fact that a lot of people repressed the most powerful parts of who you were. Okay? So if you were really outspoken, chances are, just did it again, chances are people tried to make you feel bad for being outspoken. This girl right here was made to feel very bad that she was so outspoken. I've also been made to feel bad for putting myself as a priority in my own life. How crazy is that? I've made myself a priority in my own life. A top priority. Is that a problem? Sit with that. Is it a problem for me to make myself a priority in my own life? Where do you feel it? Where is the energy of that experience sitting in your body? Do you think that you kill everything that you really bring into your house? But do you see what it creates? So maybe this person had a couple of plants that didn't do so well. And instead of like playing with it and being like, okay, maybe I'm going to try this windowsill. Maybe I'll try this corner near the window, but not in the direct light. Maybe I'll try outside, like read the tag, but play around with it. You know what I mean? We have to be okay playing around with things. But it was like everybody said, well, did you follow the directions? Did you read what the tag said? Yes, I did read what the tag said. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be working that well for me right now. And so I'm playing around with it to see what is going to fit for both of us. Because when you bring a plant into your house, what you're doing is you're creating a relationship. The relationship is the plant offers you oxygen and it cleanses your air and it adds to the ambiance and it adds a beautiful energy to your home. And you get to co-create with that plant. Like, why do people like to bring plants inside? Like, really think about this. What is that connection to you? What does that mean to you? What does it mean to have a garden, to have pets, to have children, to have things to take care of? Sometimes it feels like a lot. Sometimes it feels like there's a lot to do. And sometimes it feels like there's not enough time in the day to get all of those things done. But I'm telling you right now that when you really classify yourself in a whole new standard, a whole new elevated class for yourself, in terms of like what you're available for, what you are capable of navigating, the self-trust that you've created within yourself, the releasing of the doubt and the fear from what other people might think. This is a journey in itself. It is. I promise you it's a journey. But just because you had a couple of plants that might not have worked out so well does not mean that you kill everything that comes into your house. But do you see what the meaning is that was attached to that? So this is where I'm going to go next before we jump into our next archetype, is that we assign a meaning to everything. Why? Yes, you know what? It absolutely is. Hold on, I'm going to get your comments really quick, Patricia. I love doing these classes with you. Even had a dream last night about snakes and babies, which I looked up, and they mean transformation, shedding of old beliefs and traps, rebirth, growth. Love it. Absolutely. Yes, snakes and babies. I love that. Wow, I realized in the past few weeks, I always put me last, lying to myself that my reward is simply doing for others, that I don't need anything. It feels like I'm learning a foreign language sometimes. Yes, this is like learning a foreign language. And that's why it's been a very long process. You know what I mean? Because you are literally relearning how to exist. You are retraining your brain and reconditioning yourself on how it's okay to exist, because we assign a meaning to a lot of different things, and it doesn't serve us to attach so much meaning to so many things. You know, I want to go through the archetypes that we've addressed so far, and then we're going to go into our next archetype, and I'm going to bring in like a deeper understanding to this the stuff that I've been kind of peppering through here. The first archetype that we went into is princess. Princess. You know, princess has gotten a very interesting situation going on for her, because we could pull on this archetype from different time frames. You know what I mean? Like, we could look at Disney princesses. We could look at like real historical princesses. We could look at what we interpret as princess, you know, which to me is like royal maiden. There's nothing wrong with being a royal maiden. That sounds like a really beautiful thing. But if you weren't raised in the frequency of royal maiden, it feels like a really not so good thing. But she's in there. That's the thing, that I can't just bypass it like, oh, okay, so you don't identify with this. That's okay. Maybe you just don't have one. No, that's not true. Because this is a group of women, and this is a group of powerful women. This is a group of women who want to understand themselves, want to go through a deeper sense of healing and connection, that want to understand what brings them the greatest source of their power, so they can utilize it in the world, so that you can use that power to help you make more clear decisions, so you can feel more decisive. So in areas of your life where you have to step into courage and confidence, you can do that. You can bring that energy forward. You can totally shift into Queen Bee on the days that you just have to get shit done, you know? And do that with authority and leadership and power, and you can work on your time frame. You know, like, okay, I've got 6 hours to get all of my shit done today. I've got errands to run. I've got grocery shopping to do. I've got meal prep. I've got cleaning. I've got to pick up the kids. Today's the day that I'm Queen Bee for the next 6 hours. For now, before I know that I have to do all that stuff, I'm going to sit in freaking princess, and I'm going to take a bubble bath, and I'm going to do a really beautiful facial regimen, mask thing situation to cleanse my pores and tighten my skin. And I'm going to do it while I sip on a lovely chamomile tea with honey, and maybe have a couple of little macaroons on the side. And, you know, like, you can do that. That's okay. You can go into Queen Bee mode for like freaking 6 hours straight, because I do it. But in there, I'm also pivoting through different archetypes, okay? And sometimes that means bringing princess in, because let me tell you, princess is kind of like, I'm just going to sit here, and I'm just going to look pretty, and I'm going to look at all the pretty things. And you know what? We were told that that's not good, that you don't want to be that princess. But the thing is that there's nothing wrong with being princess. What's wrong with princess is when you become shadow princess and you start having really crazy demands, and you have really resentful feelings, and you are very jealous of other people who are getting the things that your princess is not. Right? Maybe we just feel really happy for the people who are getting their needs met. Maybe we just feel really happy for those people who are knocking it out of the park. You know what I mean? Can we just be happy for them? Because that resentment, that fear, that doubt, that ugliness that exists in Shadow Princess is really just her feeling bad that she didn't get that either. So it's not necessarily about the fact that you'll never have it. You didn't have it, and you can't go back there. You can't go back. I can't go back either. Nobody can. Even if I had a time machine, I don't think I would go back and fix all the shit. Because of the fact that if I create a different ripple in the time-space continuum, my life might not be what it is right now, and I'm not willing to take that chance. Because I'm actually really happy with the life I've created. I've created this. It didn't just happen. It was manifested over many years of praying and meditating and contemplating and learning and growing and healing and delving into the things that make me really scared. Really scared, like panic scared. Okay? Tiana from Princess and the Frog comes up for me. Wasn't born that way, but I'm gonna own it. I love that. I love Tiana. Tiana, because she had very humble beginnings, right? And so this is the thing. We have so many different types of Disney princesses that we can choose from. If you want to choose a Disney princess, choose a Disney princess. There's nothing wrong with that. My favorite Disney princess is Aurora, Briar Rose of Sleeping Beauty. I also really love Cinderella because I have found myself in that situation before. I identified with Cinderella. I had a wicked stepmother. And I had not evil stepsisters. I had stepbrothers. So my situation was a little different. But they're like, the only thing that I don't agree with about the princess shit is the happily ever after at the end of every movie. But what else were they going to do? It's a movie. They got to wrap it up, right? They can't just keep going and going and going and going and going, and the story never ends. These are stories that people want to see a happy ending. It gives people inspiration. The problem is that we've so self-identified that we lost sight of the fact that it is just a story, okay? It's just a story. And again, we assigned meaning to it. We assign meaning to a lot of different things. And if we can have these really adult conversations, then we can really get to the bottom of stuff. So we talked about the princess. We talked about the lighthearted princess, the curious princess, the doted upon, sweet, innocent. What else did I say about her? She's gentle. She's a great receiver. She's taken care of. She trusts because she knows that she's taken care of. That's crazy, right? The princess energy just trusts that she is going to be taken care of. That's a very different experience than what I had. And it probably was different than what you had. But it doesn't serve us to punish other people for getting what we didn't have. And it doesn't serve us to dwell on it. So we can pivot that energy. And what I would suggest, what I would invite you to do is when you see somebody really receiving their princess, really activating their princess, really embodying their princess, living their princess, I want you to freaking celebrate them. Just celebrate them. Even if it doesn't feel good at first. And it feels like, I don't want to celebrate this. Like, this feels like crap to me. Shift it. It just means that you got stuck in a feeling also got stuck in a thought. And now it's like boomeranging off each other. They've connected and they're going back and forth. Thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling. You ever see those, the balls and they're hanging balls and I think they're metal or something. And then you click them and they click, 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 click. And so I want you to realize that that's like your brain. That just kind of came in. If I can find one of those freaking things, I will. They used to have them at like Spencer's, and they probably had them at like Sharper Image or something, some weird like desk thing for people. Like, I don't know. But the clicking, click, click, click. And I want you to just connect with that for a moment, because that's your brain and that's your emotional body. You know what I mean? That's the way your mind, your thoughts and your emotions are connecting. Click, 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 click. Thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling. And then you get stuck in that vortex, that portal, okay? So, what do you do with that? Because princess is princess. She's not really super deep in thought, but Queen Bee is. And Queen Bee has a lot to say about a lot of things. This needs to be done this way. This is incorrect. This is not good enough. This should be better. This is really good. I really like this. Let's keep doing that. We have a time restraint on this. We have to move this here. This person needs to take care of that. I will be taking care of this. Make sure you try that. Make sure you do this. Make sure you get back to me. And we're just like doing all of the things, and we are on top of everything. Like, there are things that I'm anticipating and I'm prepared for. There's things I'm not prepared for. And that's typically like Queen Bee, who is boss and male dominant, is a perfectionist and she is authoritative. And so there's a part of her, like the light side of Queen Bee, let me tell you, that woman gets stuff done. But the shadow of Queen Bee is really not happy. So basically how she becomes the shadow is she is not recognizing where her needs need to be met. She has needs. Because we all have needs. She's not meeting her needs. Because she got stuck in another vortex, another frequency, which was time to get stuff done. Time to move stuff forward. And a lot of it is because, like, if you're a business owner, I would say Queen Bee is probably somebody who is running a household, running a business, possibly both, like this gal right here. But it doesn't have to be. Honestly, like you could still be Queen Bee and not have like a regular job or be an entrepreneur or have a business. You could. Because maybe you're that person with your friends. Maybe that you're that person around your family. Maybe that you're that person in your house and you're the one who orchestrates everything. I would say like my oldest daughter, Kira, she is Queen Bee. She doesn't have a job yet. She doesn't have her license yet. She's not running an empire. She's not doing anything like that. But let me tell you, when it comes down to her friends and when it comes down to the clubs she's involved in and the extracurriculars she's involved in, that girl is Queen motherfucking Bee. And how is she Queen Bee at 16 years old? Well, she was raised by me. So she has I know that this is natural for her, but I know that she also gets that reinforcement from me because she hears how I navigate different things. And so she's learned how to navigate challenging situations because of, we talk a lot and she'll tell me things. But like when it comes to collaborating, organizing, getting things structured and mapped out, planning things, like that's what Queen Bee does. And that's what my daughter does. I mean, she's on top of it all. Everybody, all of her friends, and it doesn't have to be like an actual like school project or activity. It could just be like her friends say like, hey, we should all get together and hang out on Friday night. And everybody's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? And you want to go there? No. Do you want to try this? No. And so Kira will come in and she'll be like, listen, guys, this isn't working. Nobody's actually suggesting anything. I'm like, oh my goodness, like you sound like a 35-year-old woman. You need to take it down a notch. But she'll say like, listen, nobody's actually coming up with any ideas. Nobody's actually moving the conversation forward. So how about everybody just comes over my house and we'll get pizza and we'll watch a movie or we'll listen to music and we'll talk and maybe we'll play a board game. Maybe we'll take a walk. Like, how does that sound? Everybody's like, yup. And then she communicates with us. This is what we're doing. Okay. But like she takes charge. Queen Bee is a take charge kind of person. But the shadow side of Queen Bee is that she can't get she's tired. She's burnt out. Her battery needs to be recharged. She's still trying to collaborate and organize and structure and map and plan and be responsible and take care of all the things. But she forgot one major thing in the whole scheme. And that was she forgot to take care of herself. And that is the shadow of Queen Bee. You can be Queen Bee really efficiently, really incredibly. Like, I feel like I have got this covered. But I also recognize that Princess is really important for a balanced Queen Bee. Healthy Princess, light Princess, not dark shadow Princess. We have to let Princess in to have a more balanced Queen Bee. And there are other things that I will suggest to recalibrate and balance as well for a very effective Queen Bee if you feel like you are just in Queen Bee mode the majority of the time. So the shadow of Queen Bee is going to be resentful. Okay? She's going to feel judgmental. She might blame other people for her shortcomings because what will frustrate her is that she didn't get everything done that she was supposed to. And so she'll immediately look unconsciously but immediately look for whose fault is this? Who dropped the ball? And one of the hard things for Queen Bee to recognize is that she dropped the ball. But she won't necessarily see it in the right way. She won't necessarily see it as like, oh, I should have taken more time off. I should have rested more. I should have given myself more space for peace. I should have given myself a little bit more forgiveness and compassion for all of the things that I put on my list to get done in 6 hours today. Because that might be a lot. But she doesn't see it as that, you know? She doesn't recognize that she could be also playful and happy-go-lucky and optimistic and free-spirited and lighthearted and whimsical and curious and wondrous and sweet and gentle and excited and trusting. She doesn't see that part. But that's the key that unlocks the power of Queen Bee, is allowing that other side in too. And you will be so much more of an effective Queen Bee if you slip into some of these other archetypes and balance it out from time to time. So we also discussed Valkyrie. Now, I have really been feeling into her because, as you well know, like I work with Valkyries, and I was a Valkyrie. For those of you who understand and align with the concept of past lives and alternate lives, I have absolutely been a Valkyrie, and other people have had dreams and visions and meditations or hypnosis where I have shown up to them as a Valkyrie. And it's actually really a very beautiful thing. Because I do have glimpses of that life, and I actually recently had a dream of that life, and I've just been, people have shared so many experiences with me, and I'm truly like, when people say things, I'm like, oh my God, like my heart just like bursts open, honestly, like, because what Valkyrie represents, Valkyrie is such a part of my heart and of my soul. And so I want you to know that Valkyrie, if you look at Valkyrie, she's tough. You know, like it was kind of interesting, like putting all of this together, because I was like, is Valkyrie Queen Bee? Is Queen Bee Valkyrie? No. Because I identify so much with both of them. It was like I had to pull them apart and really like look at them and examine them before I could put the material together to articulate their personalities and their traits. And I'm going to tell you that even though this is not how they're represented, there is a motherly energy attached to Valkyrie. And this is where I'm going to break it down a little bit more, because yes, warrior, protector, territorial, powerful, strategist, lives in service, is an advocate. What the fuck about that doesn't say mother? Sometimes I think when we feel into like the mother archetype, we think that like she's just in the kitchen baking cookies and waiting for her kids to come home from school so she can pour them milk and watch, so they can just eat the cookies, and they're just going to talk about their day, and then mom will go back to folding laundry and getting ready for dinner and making sure that the kids and the house and everything is all good. Have you ever seen a lioness or a mother wolf or a mother bear? That's why I say there's actually a lot of mother energy that comes with Valkyrie, because we move souls from one place to the other. And guess what? We do that as mothers too. I brought a soul into my body multiple times, and then 2 of those little seeds that were planted came out into the world. I transformed something in my body. A seed was planted in my body, and my body transformed it into a human being. And then I allowed that human being to go through my body and step foot into this world. And then I took complete responsibility for that little life. Complete responsibility. And I protected it, and I fought for it, and I was very territorial over it. I strategized, I planned. I live in service to it. like I really do. It's a very interesting thing that Valkyries have never been depicted as mothers, but there is a very mothering energy that comes with Valkyries because they see things that others don't see. And they will go into situations that not a lot of other people will go into. And even if you don't have children, doesn't mean that you don't have a mothering energy about you. You don't need to have babies to do that, okay? You don't even need to have a womb to do that. I know many women who have not had children or who have had hysterectomies. And let me tell you, they are such powerful Valkyries. They are motherly and protective and territorial and advocates. Like that's a really powerful thing. I think the shadow part of the Valkyrie is somebody who is going to fight themselves and fight others because things don't feel fair. Things aren't coming out the way that they should be coming out in terms of, not like when we're doing our work, that would be Queen Bee, like, oh no, something's not right here, fix this. This part of the Shadow Valkyrie is about like having an objective to oversee something so much bigger outside of yourself. It's not about a project. It's about like, it's more philosophical. I think I would say it's more moralistic and philosophical than it is like about responsibilities, duties, tasks, stuff like that, where Queen Bee would step in. Valkyrie is not consumed with duties and tasks at all. She is really much more about like the bigger picture. And, and I think that is a very mothering quality. Like, if I am feeding my children and nourishing my children and I'm giving them all of the love and the guidance and the support and the knowledge and the wisdom that I can possibly give them throughout this journey, then they will have incredible resources and an incredible toolbox that is filled with a ton of tools that will help them navigate a variety of situations in their life. I don't tell my children who they need to be. I don't tell them how to act. There are definitely times I make suggestions and I'll be like, no, we're not doing that. But I do give my children a lot of freedom because they've earned it. They're really great kids. They get their work done. They have great grades. They are kind and loving and compassionate individuals. They're self-sufficient and independent. Like, Michael and I do not need to like rein in the girls, but Kaden every once in a while, only because what she needs to learn? Just a little bit of tact. She says things and they make sense and they're spot on. And sometimes though, you're like, not the best time to bring that up, kiddo. But she's 11. So we're going to teach her just a little bit more tact. All right. New archetype. And I brought this up in the original masterclass, but this is the archetype of alchemist. So incredible. And I'm going to do a little exercise with you today. So the alchemist is empathic. She is, she's a mystic. She might also identify as a witch. She might also identify as a healer, a psychic, a medium, a channel. She is the one who is going to really transmute things, okay? This is the transmutational archetype. It's really important to have this, to really work with this archetype, especially like being energetically sensitive, spiritually sensitive, things like that. So what does the alchemist do? She shifts energy. She knows how to pivot. She is embracing the contrast in her life. She understands the universal laws of transformation, and she knows how to hold the duality of that. She knows how to move energy. She knows how to receive energy. She knows how to transmute, transform, and transmit it. I don't know if you guys see like the buffering. So like when I see it come up on my screen, I just pause because I don't know if you guys can actually still see me or hear me when it happens. And usually only happens for a couple of seconds, so that's good. But it doesn't even make any sense why it's happening, but I digress. Queen Bee is showing up. Let's just like put her to the side, bring in Princess. Everything is So alchemist has a lot of these spiritual gifts, recognizes their intuition, recognizes energy, recognizes that there's like a connection between things. Like, she is very curious about what is happening behind the scenes of things. But this is different than princess. It's different than queen bee. It's different than Valkyrie. Alchemist is about shifting. Now, how many times in your life, or how often, or in your just like your everyday world, do you feel like you are expressing maybe queen bee or Valkyrie or shadow princess, and you could easily bring in the alchemist? Because the alchemist is going to shift it. So it's knowing how to pivot, which you need alchemist for, because alchemist is the one who pivots. Queen bee is not great at doing the pivot. She's going to be like, wait, what? Do you see we have a timeline here? You know? So in a tough situation, queen bee will just be like, the light side of queen bee will recognize, okay, so we have a time restriction here. We're going to do whatever we can do, and then we'll pick this up tomorrow. The shadow side of queen bee is going to have a meltdown and recognize that she doesn't have the kind of control over the situation that she wished she had. Light side of queen bee recognizes that she doesn't have that control. She never did, and will move through it in the best way that she can. But if she pulls on alchemist, she's going to move through it a lot faster and a lot easier. And the reason is because alchemist knows how to shift the energy. She can take something that's not so great and actually make it something much better. She can redirect the thoughts, redirect the energy, redirect the thinking, redirect the emotions. Patricia, I think I bring in alchemists more than I thought when I think about it. See, this is why it's so important to understand like who the players are in this game, because it is. This Earth School is a game, everyone. Welcome to the game. I can't say that it's a fun game all the time, but if you are somebody who's ever played a video game in your life, I want you to really think about the character that you played and how they navigated through the challenges of the game, how they won the game, what happened when they ran out of lives, what happened when they stepped on the poisonous mushroom, or they fell off the cliff, maybe something horrible happened and then they ran out of lives and you had to start all over again. There's really a very strong parallel between video games and what we are doing in this version of simulated stuff, the simulated Earth, the matrix of third density reality. This is just a game. And so you came here to learn certain lessons, just like the player in your video game. I don't play video games. I really don't. My husband likes some video games. The girls like Zelda and things like that. But I wouldn't say anybody in the house is like a gamer. You know what I mean? And I don't have really any opinions about that. I think that there's really good aspects to it. I think that there's some, challenging aspects to it. It doesn't bother me that people play video games. I don't think that it's what causes people to hurt each other. I do think that it's just a sedentary thing. But I think that there's really great things that it can do for your mind and your motor function, your hand-eye coordination. I think that it keeps your brain definitely very active and can recreate new neural pathways for you. So there are definitely some really positive things that come from it. But in this particular container, we are not going to be going there, but I want you to just like pay attention. So if I was playing Mario, because that is the game that even to this day, if somebody was like, hey, you want to play Mario? I would be like, fuck yeah, I want to play Mario. Are you crazy? Like, I grew up on that. We got our Nintendo in like 1989. It was amazing. And so, so you start the video game and like Mario's just like moving forward. Very two-dimensional. I think they're a lot better now in terms of graphics, but like he's moving along and now he has to accumulate points, right? So he jumps up, he hits his head on the little box and it goes cha-ching, and then he moves forward, he hits his head on another little box that goes cha-ching, and now he's got coins. Now he's got money he's building up. He's got points he's building up. Now he's building up like a whole account over here. He's banking all of these points. If he jumps in the wrong spot, that little mushroom that moves back and forth, if it hits him, he's going to go, he's going to like, he's going to look like he's kind of glitching out a little bit. Like he goes kind of shimmery, invincible, and then he comes back. And the reason is because now he's been weakened in a way, right? So it lets you know, like, okay, so that's one life. Like he's weaker now. He lost energy in this. And so, because he got hit. And now he has to keep going. And if he gets hit 2 more times, this game is over. You have to start all over again. How does that apply to your life? Really think about this. And then you have like those parts in a video game that, like, I remember this from another video game, and also around the same time frame, maybe like a year or 2 later, but Paperboy. I loved Paperboy. This is also a Nintendo game, I believe. And so Paperboy, he got to ride his bike around. He'd throw papers in people's mailboxes, and different things would happen though. So he didn't have control over the different circumstances that would happen around him. And they were always the same circumstances, that there would be like a car, and then there would be somebody like coming out to talk to him, or somebody who had a hose, and there were other kids on the road like he had to pay attention to. And, you know, you were navigating this, trying to obviously not lose any energy on his part. You don't want him to get hit by a car. You don't want him to fall off his bike. You don't want him to miss the mailbox or not deliver to a certain destination, because that loses energy. And if he's not doing it the way that he's supposed to be doing it, the way that's best for him to do it. Does this make sense? And then you've got like those non-player players who are around that are just there as distractions. They're just there to kind of throw you off your game. They're there to trip you up. They're there to kind of sneak out of nowhere and be like, bleh. And maybe something happened and you had to learn where that person was going to be standing next time. So you were like, okay, so it didn't work out really well this time, but next time I know exactly where that little creepy guy is going to be jumping out from. I know exactly what's going to happen. I know what to do. I know how to beat this level now. It's pretty similar to life. Things that you do not anticipate, that you have not experienced, will surprise you. Things that you have experienced will also probably frustrate you, but you have the ability to navigate them. So if you're trying to get to the end of one of the Mario levels, again, I know this is ridiculous, but this is all I know. There is like the dragon, like there's a dragon in Mario 1, and there's like these little fire bars that spin. Like there's this little thing, and then there's a bar that's just constantly spinning around, and you have to jump so that you don't get hit by the bar, or it's game over if you do that 3 times in a row. And you definitely don't want to approach the dragon at the end with like 1 life left, because 1 smack from his tail, you're done. You got to start it all over again. But the more times that you do it, the more you learn, and the more that you learn, the more that you learn, and the more that you learn. And then you start to get pretty frustrated or pretty confident that like, I can figure this out. I can actually do this thing, and you know, like I have this whole little system that I can use to actually kill the dragon and get to level 2. This is the same as your life. You just haven't necessarily zoomed out enough to see yourself in your own life. But the alchemist wants to take some of the harder things and transmute them into lighter things. She wants it to be more positive for you. She knows that you have like so much heavy energy sitting in your body, bogging you down, weighing you down, accessing like just this deep heaviness within you. And it just like it drains all of your energy. And so she's like, no, I'm the alchemist. I'm part of you. We have the ability to transmute this energy. It doesn't need to stay inside of you like this anymore. So here's the deal. If you release the energy, which you absolutely can, you can release it. You can send it right down into Mother Earth. And that is a safe and positive thing to do. I used to have a really hard time with that because I didn't know if I could trust Mother Earth. I didn't know if she was going to be like, okay with me. And then I kind of felt bad that I was like giving her crap, you know, like, oh, I'm just giving her all of this negative energy. I don't want to do that. I feel like Mother Earth has enough negative energy that she has to deal with. And I'm like, I should just like I'll just hold on to it. I'll be okay. Like, I have to protect Mother Earth. Do you see what I just did there? And I've done this before many times in my life because this is Valkyrie. Valkyrie came in and she was like, no, we can't alchemize this because we have to protect Mother Earth. So Valkyrie and Alchemist had a little bit of a situation between each other. They love each other. They get along very well, but they had to have a conversation as to like why this is more important than that right now. So Valkyrie is very protective. And so Valkyrie wants to protect literally everything that she possibly can. And so when I was younger, I protected my father and I protected my mother. And I protected them from having to know things and having to experience things and having to find out about things, things that were happening to me. I was very afraid to share that with them because I thought it was going to break them. And it would shatter their lives with the after effects. And so it wasn't because I was afraid I was going to get in trouble. I was always in trouble anyway. It didn't matter, you know. This was a much more serious situation. This wasn't me being mouthy and just doing whatever I want to do, which is what I was told. Well, you're just going to do what you want to do anyway, so go ahead and do it. Okay, I will, because I'm gonna. That was Queen Bee. I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, because that's just the way it's going to go. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But Valkyrie was like, no, we have to protect Mother Earth. Valkyrie did not understand that Mother Earth doesn't need that kind of protection. Mother Earth needs a different kind of protection. Mother Earth can receive whatever kind of energy I'm giving her, and she's so powerful. She's so big. She's so courageous. She's so supportive. She's so powerful. She's so many different things that I couldn't even wrap my head around in that time, that I was trying to protect her. I was being a warrior. Like, no, I can handle this. I will navigate this battle. You do not take on my problems, Mother Earth. And then the alchemist came in and she said, do you know who she is? Do you know who she really is, though? And Valkyrie was like, I don't know. I just know I got to protect her. And alchemist said, let's play with the energy and see who she really is. And so I put my bare feet on the grass, and I wiggled my toes. And then I allowed myself to feel the alchemist come in within me, the mystic, the witch, the healer, the part of me that is literally connected to every fragment of energy in this universe. Every fragment of energy, light and dark. And just embracing it, accepting it, acknowledging it, feeling it churning within me, feeling that vortex, and then feeling that energy being pulled down into Mother Earth, allowing the soles of my feet to expand as like roots of a tree, but not going down like roots of a tree, going down so much deeper, going down so much more powerfully into the depth of the core of our great Mother Gaia. And I gave her my pain, and I gave her my challenge, and I gave her my wound, and I gave her my hurt. I gave her my human. I just gave it to her. I said, take this from me. And then I allowed her to give me something else in return. And it was really beautiful. I allowed myself to receive from her. Only princess can teach you that, by the way. Because you can alchemize anything, but it's hard to give and receive and give and receive and be part of that balance as well if you haven't allowed your princess to be activated within you. So the alchemist can recognize very easily that darkness is not bad, it's contrast. And contrast is not bad because we need it. When they say things like, well, you don't appreciate the light until you see the dark, it's true. If you were winning every day at your life and just winning and winning and winning, I want $10,000 today, and it showed up. I want to buy a new car. You did. I want to go on a shopping spree. Let's go. I want to take a trip. Let's do it. I want to sign up for a new course. Let's get started. It's all really great. Like, I'm totally down for that. But it's not realistic. It's not life. It's not human life. No matter how expansive and brilliant and excellent and elevated your life becomes, you're still going to have problems to navigate. And the more that you create in your life, the more contrast will show itself to you. You might not pay as much attention to the contrast, which is what I have found for myself, is that for a long time, my queen bee and my Valkyrie and my alchemist were very confused as to where to be. And the princess was completely repressed. So it was like, who's supposed to run the show right now? Queen bee feels like she's got what it takes to get this done. Valkyrie's like, oh, I'm coming in. This is it. I know exactly what I have to do to complete this mission. And then the alchemist is like, but we can just kind of like move the energy. Isn't that interesting? Like the different ways that you can show up, that you actually have a choice in that. It's not all like, oh, it just happens. Oh, this is just it. If I didn't have the, challenge this morning with, I don't know, anything. Could be like, you forgot to put gas in the car when you were on your way home yesterday and you said, I'll do it in the morning. And then you got in the car this morning, forgot that you had that discussion with yourself, and then we're like, fuck, I'm already running late and now I have to stop at the gas station, which is going to take at least 5 minutes. And then you make it mean something about you. You make it mean something like, see, I'm never on time. I suck. I kill everything I bring into the house. And people are not good. They're just going to screw you over every chance they get. Why is everything so hard? Why am I constantly struggling? It only feels that way. It really is the truth. It doesn't mean that the struggle isn't there, but how you are personifying the struggle, how you are expanding the energy of the struggle, how you are assigning it a story and a narrative, and then you let it take you to a lot of different places. Remember the 2 balls. Think, feeling, think, feeling, think, feeling, think, feeling. So it's like, well, I knew that this was going to be a shitty day anyway. I could tell exactly how it was going to go as soon as I woke up this morning. And, I spilled coffee, and then I realized I had to go to the gas station, and like nothing's going the way it's supposed to. What the frick kind of statement is that? Take a step back, please. Is your whole life, your entire existence, your soul, your heart, your mind, everything that makes you you, all really hinging on the coffee and the car going to the gas station? It ruined your whole day. That's not what ruined your day. That was probably 15 minutes out of your day, to be completely honest. You clean up the spilled coffee, you stop at the gas station, you move forward. But that's not very easy for a lot of people because they have to attach a story to it. I was also running late yesterday. I didn't even spill coffee or have to stop at the gas station. So what's my freaking excuse for yesterday? I was running late then. I wasn't on time the day. Dinner was late. I burned the freaking rice. You know what I mean? Like I could just keep going and going and going as to all the things, the reasons why you make it mean that you're not good enough. And honestly, I think the biggest challenge in this is that in that moment, it's really that you want the consolation prize is that you're right. Because honestly, at the end of the day, if it didn't go the way that you wanted to, then the only thing you can actually take away is the fact that you were right. But you weren't actually right. You just manifested that you were right based on the emotions and the thoughts and the energy that you put out there. So how can we pivot this? How can we alchemize that? This is what I'm going to teach you right now. And we're going to play with the energy of what you can alchemize. Because you can change anything. You can just let it go. Why does it have to mean something? What does it mean? Okay, so this week wasn't the best week for you being on time. What does it mean? Okay, so you didn't pay your bill on time and now you have a late fee. What does it mean? It means you didn't pay your bill on time and now you have a late fee. You got frustrated with your kids and projected some, challenging emotions onto them. What does it mean? Figure out what it actually means. The truth of what it means. Not what your ego is trying to tell you. Not what the veil and the lens of the ego self is trying to tell you. I really want you to figure out what it means. Because if I look at the fact that, yes, I spilled coffee, I was running late, I was kind of frustrated, I forgot that I had to get gas, all it means is that I was late. Maybe next time I write it all down and I set my alarm 20 minutes earlier so I can get out the door earlier, so I can make sure all my little duckies are in a row. Do I have to beat myself up about that? Do I have to bring myself down and belittle myself? Oh my God, you're so stupid. See, this is why nobody likes you. See, this is why you don't have a partner. See, this is why you don't have this kind of a relationship. This is why you don't have a better car, because you can't even take care of the car that you have. Blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of stories that we attach. Can you see that? Can you see how these stories become what they become? Thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling. The thought is, I suck. The feeling is not good. I can feel it in my abdomen. I can feel it saying things like, you're never going to reach your goals. You're never going to attract any of the things that you desire into your life. You're never going to be a good vibrational match for bigger and better things, because you can't even remember to put gas in your car on the way home. Or you couldn't get up just a little bit earlier or out the door just a little bit earlier to remember to stop at the gas station. And now you've got yourself pretty much as the worst person ever. Is it really the worst thing ever that you forgot to stop for gas? Is it really the worst thing ever that you spilled coffee? Is it really the worst thing ever that you showed up 10 minutes late? Is it really the worst thing ever that, there was a delay, that there was a time constraint, that there was the ball got dropped somewhere? It happens. I feel like it's really important to take ownership and responsibility. But the thought, feeling, dialogue, and that experience of whatever flaws, shortcomings, mistakes, accidents, little blips on the radar, whatever it is not worth your sanity. It is not worth that much energy. It is not worth that amount of time. As I said to you the other day, the biggest time issue that we have is thinking. We waste so much more time thinking than we do on anything else. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. That the reason why you haven't gotten enough accomplished is because you're just so busy. What if there was no real thought, or if it was just positive thinking? Because sometimes it can feel like, oh my gosh, yeah, I gotta get going home. I gotta get home. I know I'm gonna hit traffic, and it's oh man, I'm gonna get stuck in traffic on the way home, and I still have to cook dinner. I still have to return emails. I still, so before I started doing more of this deeper archetypal and identity work and feminine embodiment work, I'm gonna let you into that dialogue of my dialogue. So if I'm leaving the shop, right, and the shop is in Merritt Island, so it's beachside. I live on the mainland, and so I have to cross the causeway. The causeway is not an issue, but at 5:30, it is an issue. It just gets incredibly backed up. There's a lot of people coming onto the causeway from where I'm coming from and stuff, and so when it first, especially when it first started happening, you're talking about a person that worked from home for the first time ever, had to totally change her mindset and her life and everything about how she does things completely. I had never worked from home before, ever. Never had that as an option for me. And so then it was like figuring that out and navigating that change. And that was really hard. That was a really weird situation to not be at work all day and to be at home. It felt like I wasn't doing anything, but that wasn't the truth. And so I gave it meaning that it didn't deserve. And it was hard. Then I decided to open up the shop. And I'm not going to talk about the last shop. I'm just going to talk about this one. Now I have to consider my travel times, because it takes me about like 20-25 minutes to get from the shop to home. If my last appointment leaves at a certain time, then I can get on the road, close the shop down, get on the road, get it through traffic. But when it first started happening, I was like, oh my God, like, I gotta get home and cook dinner. I gotta get home for the kids. I gotta do, and then just feeling like constantly frustrated about it. You know, angry and frustrated that, you know, these cars aren't moving and people won't get out of my way. Like, I just gotta go. I just gotta do these things. Like, you guys are fucking up my entire schedule here. Queen Bee is still on the clock. We need to get Queen Bee off the clock. We need to get Queen Bee off the clock and bring in Alchemist. And I would be so hard on myself, especially, oh God, driving down US 1. And if there was a red light, I'm like, stay green, stay green, stay green, stay green, yellow, red, and like, fuck! I don't like things getting in my way. And that is just who I am, honestly. Like, that's just who I am. I don't like things getting in my way. I've learned how to be much softer when things get in my way, and to alchemize the energy. And I'm going to introduce the final archetype to you tomorrow. But I want to play with the alchemist and how to switch the energy, so that way you can really experience her. I want you to close your eyes, as long as you're not driving. And I want you to sit or lie down with your spine aligned. This will probably work better if you're sitting, but you can lay down if you'd like to. And I want you to just take a couple of deep cleansing breaths, just like right off the bat. While you're doing this, I want you to adjust your body, get your wiggles out, you know, find a comfortable position that works. Nobody needs to sit here in, like, you know, full lotus if that's not comfortable for you. And we're going to play with our emotions and assign colors to an emotion. So in the comments, whether you're here on the replay, I want you to present an emotion. And it's going to be an uncomfortable emotion. And I would really love for you to present an emotion that you've been working with lately. So maybe that feels like jealousy. Maybe that feels like impatience. Maybe that feels like anger, sadness, grief, loss, transformation. Lots of different things can come up, right? But I just want you to pick one emotion, which emotion, guys, is just like, it's just energy. It's just different frequencies of energy that are running through your body. It gets really shitty when we do the thought, feeling, because then we compound the energy. We can compound it really quickly. And you can do that with positive stuff too. We just never really learned how to do it that way. So this is what we're going to do. Pick an emotion. And I want you, with your eyes closed, to feel that emotion in your body. I want you to really feel it. Can you feel it? And this is kind of rhetorical, unless you feel like giving a response about this a little later, but do you feel the emotion coming up completely by itself, or is a story starting to form around it? Is there a dialogue? Is there a narrative? Are there words that are forming around the feeling? Or can you just feel the feeling and allow just the feeling to be there without the words? So what I'd like to do is, first of all, if there are words there, that's okay. You can experience those words for just another couple seconds, and then I'm going to ask you to filter those words out. And just the feeling, the emotion remains. Now what I would like for you to do is I want you to assign this emotion. Now we can do this in a lot of different ways. It really just depends on how your different gifts work with you. So somebody who is clairvoyant, who's, has inner vision, it might feel better for you to be more visual. For somebody who is more clairaudient, it might feel better for you to assign a sound or a song. For those of you who are clairsentient and claircognizant, it might be better for you to just assign a feeling, just a connection. But the ways that we can do that is we're going to assign it either a color, a sound, a song, a texture, a shape, a sensation, or a feeling. So if I felt into myself and I was like, let's bring anger in. That feels really, really like crimson red to me. And I can feel it in my chest. Okay? I'm not assigning any words around it. No stories, no experiences, no people, nothing. No expectations, nothing. But I want you to feel it in that area of your body. Feel it. Maybe it's in your gut, maybe it's in your back, maybe it's in your chest, maybe it's in your throat. Where is it? Maybe it's in your shoulders, your fingers. There's no right or wrong here, guys. Where do you see the color of the emotion that you're working with? And now what I'd like for you to do is we're going to move it. So no matter where it was, even if it was in multiple different areas, we're going to drop it into the portal of the heart. You do have a portal of light and love energy in your heart. Okay. What's the emotion, Patricia? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to sad, thank you. So what I want you to do is I want you to, while you're sitting there with your eyes closed, is I want you to really connect with that color, texture, sound, taste, vibration, shape, whatever it is that you've connected with, right? And the more that you can assign to it, even the better, if you can go a little bit further, you can do that. And I want you to take where you see all of that energy, where you feel all of that energy, I want you to intentionally draw it into the portal of your heart center. And when you feel it there, you're going to drop it into the light. Drop it. Drop it like it's hot, baby. And feel your whole heart radiating with white light. This is transmutation. Take that color, the feeling, the heaviness, the everything that it represented, the feeling of the sadness, bring it into the heart center, drop it into the light like a vacuum. Now it's still within you, and it's now been transmuted into light. So now it can recirculate. and you don't have to feel super drained or tired for releasing the energy. Because sometimes, you know, like if I've been crying, which is a very beautiful, healthy thing to do, by the way, if you have noticed tears, emotions coming to the surface, and you're allowing that to purge from your body, because honestly, if those emotions are coming to the surface, please don't shove them back down. Please let them be free. Please let them be there for you. This is how our nervous system regulates. This is another reason why so many people have such dysregulated nervous systems. It's because there's been no calibration, right? If you keep shoving things down and shoving things down and shoving things down and shoving things down and shoving things down, there's a lot of things that have been shoved down. They're all still there. That's the energy of the emotions that you feel. And that's why it's so easy to attach the dialogue to it. If it's something that you haven't had to do yet, there's going to be a different dialogue, you know? Like I'm in the middle of doing all of this different paperwork and stuff that I've never done before because I'm upgrading certain parts of the business, but I've also got like another thing that I'm working on too. And I've never done these things before. And so it's not the same feeling of, it's not going to work. It's going to be really hard. Like it's a different feeling. And because it's not from something that I've experienced. So you can tell when there's like a new experience because you'll have different thoughts and feelings around it versus the things that you've already felt and experienced. Those are going to have a story. Those are going to be very different. So if we take the color, move it. We're just going to move it into this area. If it helps you use your hands to do this, please do it. But the idea is that you would bring all of that energy right into this portal of the heart, drop it in right here, Iron Man style, and then blast it with this beautiful inner light. Change the color to light. Change it to white light. And then allow that energy to fill your body. Allow the white light to fill you up. Work with your breath. You will feel the transmutation. Now this is the thing, if you didn't feel it on the first try, it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you didn't do it right. It means you might just need a little bit more time with this to get a little bit more clear about what it really is, to process a little bit more of it. This is the kind of thing that takes practice and requires focus and concentration. And I think that's one of the things that I've really loved so much is somebody like me who has ADHD and is all over the place the majority of the time, like truly. This is actually one of the biggest things that I'm dealing with right now in finishing this paperwork is that there's like 10 things that I have to do. I have to acquire. I have to get these things so I can submit these things. And they're all in different places, most of them, and like where I get them from. And it feels overwhelming because it's hard for me to do something that I've never done before like that. It's really hard for me. My brain does not want to do that. My brain wants to like start one of those projects and be like, let's go over here for a little while. And then I have to be like, no, we're coming back. And I'm like, fine. And then after 10 minutes of continuing to work on it, my brain says, let's go do this over here. Let's try that. Are you hungry? Don't you want to go and let the dogs out? Do you want to make a snack? Do you want to go feel the sun on your face outside for a minute? It's really nice out. Oh, maybe you should check your email. Like, that's my brain. So it, like, I have to be really, it's interesting because the tasks that I have to do sometimes, I'm very scattered in terms of just like how my brain works. And then there's other things like this that I can absolutely focus on with deep intensity. Wonder why that is. Now, did anybody feel the energy drop into the heart center and transmute into light, into white light? And knowing that you have the ability to do this with any emotion. You really do. Feeling freaking frustrated? Where do you feel it in your body? What color is it? Does it have a texture, a shape, a sound? Does it have anything that you can like connect with? Audibly, visually, sensically? Like, can you connect with that? All right, where is it? All right, drop it into the heart portal. Blast it with white light. It's really powerful. And it works. If it didn't work the first time, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything. The only thing that it actually means is that you get to try it again. And if it doesn't work that time, you get to try it again. Do you know how many times it took Walt Disney to get a loan to open up Disneyland? And what would have happened if he just quit and gave up after a few tries? I'm going to blow your mind right now, because you have to understand that, like, with such a dream, with such a visual, to be such a visionary as he was, to have this concept of this design of this park at this time frame, and you know what I mean? Like, just think about what it would have taken for him, for Walt Disney, to like sit there and put all of this together. And the only way that he would be able to actually do that is if he was passionate enough about it. He had to be passionate about it. He had to be like, I am in this. Like, I have to do this. This is my vision. This is my creation. I just feel so compelled to do this. I feel so driven, so drawn to it. I'm so passionate about it. Like, I have to figure out a way to do this. And so he went to a bank, and then they were like, no. And then he went to another bank, and they were like, thank you, but no. And then he went to another bank, and they were like, no. And then he did it again and again and again and again and again. And then he did it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And do you know how many banks Walt Disney had to go to before he actually got what he needed to start Disneyland? I'm going to blow your mind, because you have to recognize the level of intense drive, passion, commitment, and confidence that he had in this to not quit. Because I don't know if anybody else would have continued. 33 times. He went to 33 different banks. And 32 times he was told no. Can you imagine like what Mrs. Disney was feeling in that time frame? She's like, Walt, like, sweetheart, I don't know about this. I don't know. You've already seen like 5 people and they all said no. And he's like, I have a really strong vision here, hun. I feel so called to do this. And everybody's like, but Walt, you could do anything else. You could try this. You could do your little cartoons and you could do something completely different and be successful. He's like, that's not the vision I have. This isn't I'm not settling. You know what? No, I'm going back out tomorrow We're going to do this. And then he saw 5 more people and they said no. And she's like, Walt, hun, you're going to break yourself down. Like, you should probably think about doing something else. You've already seen 10 people. They all said no. Do you see where I'm going with this? Everybody told me no too. And I could tell that, like, during the whole process of me getting ready to start my business, my husband really wanted to say yes. But there was a part of him that was like, no, 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 no. And that part was fear. It's okay to be afraid. My job is not to make sure that nobody lives with fear, that nobody lives with challenges, that nobody has any problems, that, you know, life is just honky-dory, picture perfect. No. Not on this planet. Sorry. Better luck next time. We are human. This is a human journey. This is Earth School. We're here to learn a variety of different things. I know I sound like a broken record when I say it, but I'm going to keep saying those things because it's so important that you know the truth about it. You have extraordinary abilities to change things, to move things, to alter things, to realign things, to readjust things, to reshape things, to create a new lens for how you see things. You know, Princess wants to wear rose-colored glasses. I think that's freaking wonderful. Good for her. Sometimes it's nice to put on a pair of rose-colored glasses and see the world through that lens. It's not always going to serve you when you have to get shit done. Queen Bee's like, okay, Princess, you got like 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Go. Like, get it out of your system. I got to take the wheel. All right, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's do this. You know, like, that's the energy of it. You feel the different energies? Can you feel how Queen Bee shows up? Can you feel how the alchemist wants to support you and move shit around? Can you feel how the Valkyrie is actually so much more of like a mother archetype than a warrior? Mothers are warriors. In like ancient Viking times, women fought on the battlefield. And they are not the only culture that allowed women to fight on the battlefield. There are other cultures, mostly pagan cultures, that allowed their women to fight alongside the men. And they were mothers, and they were wives, and they were farmers, and, you know, and they were healers. And it wasn't that they couldn't do it, or that they were so delicate that they weren't allowed to do it, or that they didn't have the sensibility or the courage to do it. That is not the problem with women. There are times that we probably don't belong on the battlefield. But not all the time. There are probably times that men don't belong on the battlefield either, but not all the time. But we also don't always need to be on a battlefield. Life is not actually a battlefield. It's more of a game. Maybe change the game you've been playing if you feel like you've been playing a more of a violent game, you know, like a game that is, what the frick is it? Let's see, my words. I'm not going to be able to find the words. What the heck does my husband like to play? Something auto. The fact that I can't think of it just tells me how far I've gone from this dimension right now. Grand Theft Auto. Thank you. Okay, I got it. And then there's another one where people are shooting at each other. I don't know. There's all sorts of it. What's your video game? I'm playing Mario and Paperboy still. And some people are playing like warfare games and, you know, strategy games. Some people are on the quest for treasure. Like the girls, they play Zelda. I don't know what the hell they're looking for, but it's very like whimsical and fairy-like, and it's very sweet and fun. But then there's very violent games. What game are you playing? Are you playing a violent game? Do you need that Valkyrie energy with you? If you're playing a violent game, you probably do. You're probably going to need all of them. You're going to need Valkyrie, Alchemist, and Queen Bee quite a bit. But you get to pick the game because it's your game. So if you don't want to play on the battlefield anymore and you want to play something that's a little bit more harmonious, a little something like take it down a few freaking take it down a few notches so that way it's not so intense all the time. You have the ability to morph that. Life is only as intense as you have created it. Life is only as hard as you've allowed it to be. I allowed my life to be really hard for a long time because I didn't know that there was any other way that it could be. And I didn't know that there was any other way that it was supposed to be. You know, it's like we're a product of our environment. We're a product of our family. We're a product of a lot of different things. But at some point, you got to take the freaking reins yourself and be like, okay, I am ready to be in the driver's seat of my life. I am ready to take full ownership of where I'm at, complete responsibility for who I am, the choices I've made, the energy that I bring, the thoughts that I have circulating through my mind, the emotions that come up. If we have these different tools, then there's no reason why we can't move through it. So for those of you who are going through certain stuff, maybe bring Princess in for a little while. Go get an ice cream cone. Go sit at the park. Go sit at the beach. Go sit in the sun. Follow a rainbow. Talk to a bird. You know? Like, simplify things. That's the thing about Princess that everybody has kind of overlooked. Not everybody, but most of us have overlooked that really connect more with the Shadow Princess, is that there's actually a great deal of simplicity with her. She really doesn't need a lot to blow her mind or rock her world. She really doesn't. She's very simple. She could just sit there and draw and color and play with a doll and look at a rainbow and see a bird fly by and look at a pretty flower and a butterfly and be completely content. Patricia was raised that we are dealt a hand of cards and that's the hand we play. Nobody ever said what game it was though. What you said makes total sense now. Right. Like, I love playing poker. Love playing poker. We do penny poker at like 1 to 2 times a month. And it's the girls and my in-laws and we have so much fun. And it's penny poker. So we just bring like our spare change from like our jar, and the girls bring their piggy banks and my in-laws bring their jar, and we give ourselves like a good handful of change. So pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters. And we bet with our pennies. Obviously, if somebody's throwing in a quarter, like, whoa, we could have like a full house here. We could have something pretty big. Like, it's fun. It's fun. Last time we actually ended up playing Uno. And because my in-laws have not really played Uno. And that was really fun for them too. But recognize that there's different games, right? So if you were dealt a different kind of hand and you're like, you know what? I actually fucking hate gin rummy. I don't care for it at all. I'd rather play Go Fish, so be like, back to the dealer. I'll take Go Fish, please. Thank you. I used to play Crazy Eights with my grandparents when I was little. They used to, and this is why we've kind of brought it back. I really, really wanted to bring it back was because I grew up with a very close-knit family. It's really the domestic situation that was not good for me. But outside of that, my life was actually really great. I had wonderful grandparents. I had a lot of people that loved me. I had a lot of people that were worried about me too, because they saw the different things that were happening in my life and they didn't really have a lot of ability to insert themselves and fine tune things. You know what I mean? But I spent a lot of weekends at my grandparents' house, and they used to have their relatives and friends over. And like I said in my other call the other day, I was like, my parents grew up in the same town and my grandparents grew up in that town. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of roots and history in that town. And so it wasn't strange to be at my grandparents and have people just randomly stopping by for whatever reason. Stopping by to have a cup of coffee, stopping by to drop off a freaking pie, stopping by to like bring fruits and vegetables from their garden, stopping by to talk about the church bazaar that was going to be happening, And so they would sit around the table and they would play cards for hours and they would speak French to each other. And I would try to sit in the background listening. trying to learn French. And then they'd see me and they'd say, Renee, go play. And I had to take 4 years of French. And I don't speak French, and I'd love to speak French, but I digress. I'm going nowhere anymore. Cards are fun. Life is good. Things can get better. Things are actually so much better than you probably realize that they are, because there are people out there that do have it worse. And it's not to compare, but it's to give perspective. You know, sometimes we just need a little bit of perspective in our lives where it's like, hey, you're getting there. You're doing it. You're taking the steps. You're doing the work. Is it going to happen in a day? No. It didn't happen for me in a day either. This has been a very long journey of learning how and what and when and where and all the things. And there are delays and there are setbacks and there are detours and there is construction work along the journey. There's a lot of things that happen along the journey that you don't know what's going to happen on the journey. You don't know when you get in the car on a road trip. You have your map. You've got probably food and water and blankets and pillows and, you know, your luggage. And there's certain things that you do to prepare for a road trip. There are certain things that you cannot prepare for. You can't prepare for the fact that in your 5-day road trip, 2 days in, you got a cold. Didn't see that coming, did you? Nope. Can't plan for the fact that you got a flat tire coming out of one of those old truck stops. And then you get frustrated with yourself because you're like, I should have figured it out. I should have had all of the answers. But we don't, and that's okay. So forgive yourself, alchemize it, identify the feeling, identify the emotion, give it a color, drop it into the heart portal, blast it with white light, transmute it, alter it, and then allow it to just run. All right, tomorrow is day 4. It is the final day of our masterclass. It is going to be incredible. I've got such incredible things planned to share with you tomorrow. I am so excited for it. I can't wait to see you. I hope you have a really great day. I want you to play around with these energies, okay? So your homework is to consider who the first archetype is to show up in your marriage. Who is the first archetype to show up as the mother of your children? Who is the first archetype to show up when you are going to work? Who is the archetype that shows up when you are going home from work? Who is the archetype that shows up on your days off from work? Who is the archetype that shows up during the holiday season? Who is the archetype that deals with finances, money, and wealth matters? I really want you to feel into your life right now. And I really want you to feel into the 4 archetypes that I have already expressed to you and how they play a role in your world. Okay? I will be back tomorrow with the 5th and final archetype, and we are going to tie this up. I love you. I'm proud of you. You're doing so exceptionally well. You don't even realize how amazing you are, but I do. I love you. Bye for now.